Hello, YouTube! My name is Scott, and I just got around to watching Cobra Kai. So, we're up to Season 5, Episode 3, which is called Playing with Fire. And it's not bad. I mean, you want some karate? It's in there. You want a good montage? That's in there too. Even a vision quest of sorts? You got that. Now, as usual, things are kind of spread over a couple of different storylines. I think first and foremost, let's start with Miguel and Sam. So obviously Miguel's back in the country. He's hanging out with Hawk and Dimitri at the tattoo parlor, because apparently this is just Hawk's new favorite place now. He got a lotus flower on his chest to cover up his moon tattoo. Kind of makes me wonder how she's going to feel about that. But Miguel and Sam haven't been able to talk yet, and they're getting kind of bad advice from their friends all around. Hawk and Dimitri decide that Miguel should probably get Sam a present, and they go to this jewelry store, which is clearly upscale, but he finds this octopus pendant, and I mean that fits, right? The octopus is kind of their thing. It's marked down to $182, but sure, whatever. At the same time, Sam goes with Moon to a spa because, nothing like a good spa day. And she gets into, what did Moon call it? Moon called it a self-actualization pod because you can't just call it a sensory deprivation tank anymore. Deprivation's not a good term, you see. And her vision in there, this whole thing has been about Sam trying to figure out who she is. And she sees just a bunch of people. Her dad telling her she's LaRusso 2.0. Moon and Yasmin dressed like Laker girls for some reason. I think we know why. Telling her she's one of the girls. Hawk, for some reason, saying she's a champion, even though she lost the All Valley. And Miguel, saying she's his girlfriend. But it ends with this really interesting battle. She hears Tori's voice, but it's actually her. Which I know. She's there wearing a white gi, and there's a version of her wearing a black gi that pulls out a pair of side blades and goes to take her on. Fortunately, she finds a bow staff and basically fights herself. Now, sadly, she kind of fights herself and loses. Well, it's kind of the middle of the fight when Moon basically pulls her out of it. And that leads to a tearful scene in the backyard of Miyagi-Do where, Sam's telling Miguel that ever since the dojo opened, her entire life has been about karate, and she needs to figure out who she is outside of that. And unfortunately, that means taking a break from everything. But, they can still be friends. And Miguel actually repeats that back at one point, which I thought was weird. Because, she was like, oh, we can still be friends. And he's like, well, we can still be friends. I mean, yeah, we know. It's been established. And he just kind of leaves her there and walks off crying and drops the octopus pendant. So, good on him for somehow being able to afford the octopus pendant. Not going to lie, I'm going to assume one of his friends spotted him. But if you want the montage, well, that is to do with Johnny. See, at the beginning of the episode, Miguel made this celebratory, I'm sorry breakfast for his family and Johnny. It wasn't good. Kind of made Carmen throw up. Thing is, apparently she's been throwing up a lot lately, so pregnancy scare. And, Johnny's talking about how he wants to, do the right thing this time. But, as they're buying the pregnancy test, he sees a guy trying to control, a crying baby, and he starts making Carmen nervous. So she goes off to do her own thing, and he goes into a baby preparedness montage, which has some pretty funny moments, actually. He's trying to learn how to swaddle a baby. He does it with a 6-pack of Coors, and one of the bottles falls out and shatters, which I don't think he should really be shook by, because obviously that's not going to happen with the baby. He realizes he needs to fumigate his apartment because there are cockroaches in his sofa. Ugh. And I guess, he's just so badass that he can walk around fumigating while wearing a gas mask, but then while the stuff is still, floating around, pull the gas mask off and drink from an open bottle of beer. This guy's supposed to be preparing to, raise another child. Yeah. It was actually at this point that Miguel came to see him, and Johnny actually gave him the best advice anybody had, just to go tell Sam the truth. So I think whether or not he realizes that he is kind of getting the fathering thing right. But Carmen comes over later and sees that he's, baby proofed and upgraded the whole place. He even has headphones to put on her stomach because babies can hear music in the womb. And, he's like, I got Sabbath on there, but we can put Metallica or Dawkins or whatever you want. And at first I'm just thinking, dude, you don't play heavy metal to a child in the womb. But Carmen's down with it, and she's like, Metallica, always. So go Carmen. I just tried looking up because I forgot where my camera is. And it turns out the test is positive. So Johnny's going to be a father. Again, this is going to cause some issues with Robbie, I'll bet you anything. Probably some issues with Miguel, too. But that's where that leaves off. But, the main story of this episode, though, Silver ran into Daniel at the country club because, of course, he joined the country club because this guy is nothing if not, psychologically manipulative. And he mentions having some friends he could call in. Daniel only remembers one, a guy from the movies named Mike Barnes, who apparently suffered the same fate as Johnny, who losing the All Valley and then his life fell apart for a while. But anyway, I was saying in the last video that this whole thing was seeming very soap opera-y. The guy who played Mike Barnes, I specifically know him from playing AJ Quartermain back on General Hospital. So it's nice to see they're kind of leaning into that. Anyway, Daniel and Chosen follow him to a place where he apparently works. It looks like he's got goons and tools for cutting people up. Daniel overhears a conversation that's all about crossed wires because Mike mentions, the Italian and the Japanese and how he wants 50% commission. And he's about to go in and stop him, and he realizes Mike Barnes owns a furniture store. See, he hasn't been doing anything with karate in all these intervening years either. He managed to get his life back on track. He actually likes making furniture. Chosen gets a message a little too late, and they have a fight in the store. But thankfully, that all gets resolved. And presumably, Daniel pays the medical bills for all the guys that Chosen beat up to get into the store. But, Chosen doesn't come out of it unscathed. He winds up paying $2,000 for a couch that he really likes. The only thing Barnes is able to do is to give Daniel a number of Terry Silver's old attorney, a guy who apparently wrote up a contract saying that Mike Barnes got 50% of Cobra Kai if he beat Daniel in the tournament. And, if he can get the hands on that contract, then Silver's basically finished. And if only it worked out that well. See, Daniel left a message for Silver's attorney, who apparently sent that message right on to Silver. And there's this final confrontation in a steam room at the country club. Part of it's actually kind of cool because Silver plays the message before he enters, and then he walks in amidst all the steam, which is a really fun shot, actually. And, he warns Daniel that he shouldn't have played with fire, and it's all coming down. And as Daniel's sitting there looking shell-shocked, basically, the steam obscures him, which is also a really cool shot. And that's how the episode ends. What I don't get is, these are a couple of, Silver's a rich white guy. Daniel's clearly upper middle class, if not rich white guy. You think they'd be settling these problems legally, but no, apparently it's going to be kids using karate. Which kind of makes sense because that's the whole thing with the show. But I could have sworn in the beginning this was supposed to be about Johnny's redemption. And I guess since he's got his life on track, they're pivoting to bringing back all of Daniel's old enemies and making it about him. I mean, I get where this whole thing originated from, but it's not like this is the Karate Kid 2.0. Just saying, maybe there's a better way. But anyway, that's what I think. What do you guys think? Have to leave a comment down below, like the video, share it around, subscribe if you're so inclined. Hit that bell icon for notifications when another one goes up. And until next time, I have been Scott, and this has been Just Got Around to Watching, an offshoot of opinions no one cares about. Everyone has opinions. This one was mine.